Credit Management is a non-profit credit counseling agency. We specialize in helping people take control of their debt.
People call in every day. By the end of the call, they're feeling better. They know there's some hope out there.
For over a decade, Family Credit Management has helped tens of thousands of Americans deal with the burden of debt.
If you're struggling with debt, the most important thing is to take control of it. Now's the time.
Hello and welcome to Family Credit Management's Half Hour. My name is Laura Butler. I am a certified credit and housing counselor, and I've worked at Family Credit Management for the last 12 years. I have assisted people in all sorts of ways as far as helping people with their debt, their credit, budgets. I'm also a housing counselor, so I help people in all sorts of ways with that as well, as far as pre-purchase counseling. We do a very vast kind of array of assistance for people, as well as debt management. If you're struggling with credit card debts or you need help with anything like that, our counselors can help you. This is a call-in show. You're welcome to call in and ask me questions live on air. The phone number that you can contact us is 312-738-1060. Of course, if you're not interested in talking live over the phone on air, you can always call in and talk to our credit counselors. They're available anytime tonight, up until 7 p.m. So you're welcome to give us a call at, see if I can zoom out of that a little bit. There you go. And you're welcome to call us at 800-994-3328. That is our phone number. So you're welcome to call in anytime. Last week, we discussed a few things, and if you were able to join us last week, we were talking a lot about budgets and what I like to call spending plans. So instead of calling it a budget, spending plan was the term that we were using. I did talk about some interesting information in order to be able to help you guys with your budget. And so today I'm just going to do a little bit of recap, and we'll kind of get started into the next section that we're going to be talking about. So not only is having a budget something that's good, or a spending plan set up, but in order for you to be able to be successful in that, you should create goals. And today I'm going to be talking to you about something called SMART goals. So, that being said, so last week's recap, we did talk about finding your style. We did talk about the differences between the different types of styles. Of course, there was something as far as doing like a budget binder, where if you had maybe some sheets or something like that you wanted to keep track of expenses, you can always use something like Excel if you wanted to use that. We also talked about using mint.com or some sort of app in order to track your expenses. One thing I didn't mention last time that I thought was also important was maybe using something called the envelope method. Sometimes that works really well for people. If you want to use something like the envelope method, you're doing is you're basically taking the cash and the money out and putting it into different envelopes, and then you're using that as your spending money. Finding your style is something that's important in order for you to be able to make the spending plan you're really personal and make it yourself, for yourself. So that's what we talked about last week. And like I said, as I promised last week, we're going to be starting to talk about SMART goals. So that being said, a SMART goal, or one of the reasons you would want to set a goal is because, first of all, you want to achieve what you want in life. So that is one of the reasons why you'd want to set a goal. There are definitely different options as far as that's concerned. You also want to make sure that you're focusing on your needs and your wants. There are differences between needs and wants, and making sure you know the difference between them is really key and important. As we're going along the next 3 months, 90 days, showing you kind of the budgeting methods and different things like that, we will start to talk about focusing on needs and wants and differences between those kind of things. You also want to make sure you're preventing overspending. As a credit counselor, I deal a lot with people who are going through debt problems and maybe some financial issues. So knowing how to prevent overspending is really one of the main reasons that people want to set up a spending plan and get things kind of going. So that being said, after you realize what you want to do for your goal, I always say set a generic goal. The generic goal, of course, everybody says they want to save money. So I'm going to teach you how to change your generic goal into something called a SMART goal. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So we're going to show you how to do the generic goal into the SMART goal. And in order for you to do that, there's different steps that you're going to want to take. So again, I want to just remind you to call in to get your questions answered. You're welcome to call me at 312-738-1060. And that way, of course, I can answer any of your questions. Even if you have a question that doesn't necessarily pertain to goal setting or spending plans or budget counseling, if you've got some credit-related questions, housing-related questions, maybe you're falling behind on your mortgage payments, maybe you want to buy your house and you're not sure what to do. I also know a lot about reverse mortgage. So if you're one of those people who want to use the equity in their home and you've just got some questions, you're welcome to give me a call anytime. So continuing along the lines of the SMART goal. So every slide is going to show you the generic goal, just to remind you, and then the ways that we're making this into a SMART goal. So a SMART goal, the S, of course, again, stands for specific. Instead of saying that you want to save money, what you should really turn that into is say, I want to save $1,000. By making it specific, you're bringing that amount into your forefront in your mind. You also want to make sure that you're making it so it's measurable. That's what the M stands for. So you're changing that, initial goal of save money to, I want to save $1,000. I will accomplish this by saving $39 out of each paycheck. Now you're breaking it down into something that's a little bit more attainable. It's realistic. It's relevant. So when you make a SMART goal into or a generic goal into a SMART goal, you're really just saying, this is what I want, and these are the ways that I'm going to achieve that goal. So SMART goals really help in any facet of life. It doesn't have to necessarily be with a spending plan. Let's say you want to go on vacation and you not even have to save money. Let's just say you there are certain things you need to get accomplished in life in order for you to get to that goal. You may want to start making SMART goals for those kind of things. If you're in school, maybe you want to, get an A in a class. SMART goals is actually, I learned this when I went to Judson University. This is one of the things that they taught us is, making a SMART goal in order for you to be able to accomplish the little things that you need to do in order to achieve the big goal. So after you set the specific and the measurable part of your SMART goal, the next section, of course, again, is to make sure you're wanting to save money. So to make it attainable, are you able to reach this goal in a short amount of time? Is it affordable to you? So many times people come to me and they have big lofty goals. Even in our budget guide that we have, it talks about 12-month, 5-month, or long-term goals. I like setting things that are attainable. It's going to be within a couple months. Maybe it's something that you can do on a weekly basis. So using your SMART goal to make sure that the goal is attainable, I know that I probably can't afford $50 or $100 out of every single one of my paychecks in order for me to save up $1,000. So instead, $39, that's probably a little bit more attainable. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how long it's going to take me, and that's going to fit into what I have set for my SMART goal. So the next thing you want to do is make sure that it's relevant. Are you saving for something that's meaningful to you? If you're setting a SMART goal and it doesn't pertain to your life, or it's not meaningful to you, then you're really not going to try as hard to attain that goal. An example of this would be maybe if you're planning on saving for someone else, instead of making it about someone else, make it more about yourself. Maybe you want to make it so it really pertains to something that you want to achieve. And instead of saying that, I want to save for my kids' college, maybe you want to say that I would like to save up this money in order to help my children. And that makes it a little bit different because you're making it more about something you want to do to help them. So after you've made the attainable and relevant points in your SMART goal, of course, I want to remind you also, if you have any questions, you can call in now or you can call the 800 number. That's 800-994-3328 to talk to one of our credit counselors. But of course, you can always call in and talk to me too at 312-738-1060. Like I said, if you don't have any questions that you want to say over the air, you're welcome to call in and talk to one of our counselors. They can answer questions anytime. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to, you could go to our website as well. That website is, it's www.familycredit.org. We are also on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. You're welcome to find us on any of those social media networks as well. So, the last piece to the SMART goal is making sure that it's timely. So, I'm going to say that I want to save money and a specific amount of money, and I'm going to complete this by a specific date. It doesn't necessarily have to be to the date, so you don't have to say October 18th, 2017. You can say October of 2017 if you want to. It doesn't have to necessarily be, like I said, the specific date and time. I think it's sometimes a little bit more difficult if you pinpoint it too small for your date. But once you have that set, so you've got your SMART goal, you've got it, the specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, then you can make it into something that's more specific. So we do have a caller, so I want to take that before I continue on. Go ahead.
Hi there. Thanks for taking my call.
Hi.
This is right on time. I'm in the process of saving for a car with my oldest daughter, who's headed off to college next year. And the last time we tried to do this, being a high school junior, she spent all the money. I just want to find out if there's anything I can impress upon her, any ideas that you guys have that I can tell her to, impress upon her that saving is very important and don't spend it all before you reach your goal. So I'll get off the phone and I'll let you answer that question on the air.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. No, that's a great point. And usually what I do with people who have children is I try to get them involved in the decision-making process. I'm glad that you brought that up. It is difficult to get a teenager, I think, sometimes to start focusing on something like savings. But if you really make it small, maybe cut the amount in, little bits and chunks. I don't know if they're working or not. So, if they have a job, then possibly saying, something like, okay, when do you want to reach your goal? Do you want to reach this goal within, like a year? And if it's within a year, this is the amount that you need to save. I don't know if you're willing to, or if you said, something like this about maybe helping her out. So if you have something you want to help her out with, say, if you match $25, I'll match $25, if that's something you can afford to do. It's, like I said, it's difficult, having someone that is, like a child or even a relative or something like that, where you want to try to help them and you're really doing your best to get them to do that. You can't force people to do, what you want them to do. But if you can get them at least on board with parts of it, you can show them why it's important. So that was a great call. Hopefully that gave you some information. You can always call us or call me. If you call the 800 number, my name is Laura. You can leave me a message and I'd be able, to maybe give you some more tools and tips and information. Of course, we also have our Personal Finance Made Easy guide. This may be a really good idea for you you can go onto our website if you want to and download a free copy of it. But maybe have your teenager start working through it. It talks about making your money do what you want. It talks about, doing a self-assessment And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be, someone who, has a full-time job out of college or anything like that. This might be something for you to be able to utilize and use, with your child. Do it together with her. So that would be, or him. That would be a good maybe spot to start. And it also talks about, inflation and all sorts of things that I think kids would really need to start learning about. So that was a great question. Thank you for calling. I would also like to just talk about, so the SMART goal that we created, it talks about saving money. And so the SMART goal that I've set up for myself, and what I would normally do is write this down, put it somewhere, maybe on your refrigerator, put it somewhere that you're going to be able to see, where you've got, something that's going to be, in your eyes all the time. So the SMART goal that I created says I'll save $1,000 by October 2017. I'll accomplish this by saving $39 from each paycheck for the next 12 months. My ultimate goal is to save money for home repairs. So I not only did I make it specific, but I also made it relevant to my situation. I need to save money for home repairs. That's the reason why I'm saving. If I don't have this money by the time I need to, there could be devastating, consequences. So it looks like we do have another call. I'd be happy to go ahead and take that.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So what I wanted to ask was sometimes it really is that you're not making enough money. Other times, though, it's that you're not being a good steward over the money you have.
Right.
How can you tell the difference and kind of figure out what to do next?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. Being a credit counselor, I work in a nonprofit, organization, a nonprofit field. So there have been times where, I've even had problems where, maybe I've got more month than I have money. So yeah, that's a perfect example. If you find that you don't have enough money to be able to save, then you need to really start tracking your expenses and looking at where your money is going. So when you start tracking those expenses, you may say, you know what, I have been spending maybe a little extra on Starbucks or maybe a little extra at the grocery store. Making sure that you're really tracking your expenses and knowing where your money is going will really start to help. I think in order for you to be able to see, if you're overspending on certain categories, and honestly, if you really think that savings are important, then what you'll do is you'll make that a priority. So even if it's just $5 a week, just getting the mindset of starting to save that money, I think it's going to be something that will help out in the long run. Hopefully that helps. So, and then again, if you do have any questions, after the call, I'd be happy to answer them. You can always go to our website, which is familycredit.org. You can email a counselor. You can email me through that website. And then that way, maybe you've got, a little bit more in-depth information. Maybe you want me to help you with your budget or your spending plan. If you need help with tracking your expenses, you can always call me. So, in continuing, so the SMART goal, now if you want to take it to the next level, this is going to show you a little bit more in depth about our spending plan that we have, the Personal Finance Made Easy Guide, and then also something from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So taking it to the next level, in our spending guide, we actually have a section in there that talks about financial goals. And this is where I would start developing my generic goal. You would put down your 12-month, your 2-year, your 5-year goal. And then once you have those things started to be listed on here, then you can start making it specific and measurable and attainable and relevant and time-bound. So that is the first page. Actually, this is page 12 in the Personal Finance Made Easy Guide. We also have another section as you go further into the guide. We really focus a lot on goals. This is talking about how everything has a cost. So it talks about what are you giving up? And this goes along with the lines of what you were just talking about. What are you giving up each time you spend money? You're going to list your top 3 financial goals listed earlier in the book, making them the specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goal. And then you're going to start talking about your discretionary expenses. This is exactly what I was just talking about with trying to find that money if you don't know where it's coming from. So if you look at the discretionary expenses, you can see that every time you spend money on one of those expenses, it's more important than your goals. So that's kind of what it says in our book. That is what it says in our book. So it says if they weren't more important to you, you would not choose to spend money on them. I'd like to just also talk about how you may be spending things on wants instead of, putting into the savings, but it's because it's fulfilling a purpose in your life. So I don't want you thinking that I'm telling you have to cut out all the fun. That's not it at all. I really want you to just focus on what your 100% what your wants are. And if one of them is to have money in savings, then, start making that a priority. I've had to do this lately. I use my journal, my bullet journal, and I start tracking my expenses in my Money Lover app. And then once I start seeing where all of my money is going, at the beginning of the week, I set myself a goal by saying, I'm not going to spend any money on dining out this week. I'm going to try to have a no spend week. Try that. And if you can get that and just use groceries, maybe just, bring your brown bag lunch to work. Don't spend any money on coffee. Try, to not have to go to the gas station lots and lots of times. Really just try to have a no spend week and start off. That's a small goal. That's a small step. There are things out there where people tell you to do a no spend month, and that can be really difficult. So, like I said, just making sure it's little steps. Little steps is the key. The other thing I was talking about was the CFPB. If you've not heard of the CFPB, it's a government agency. The CFPB is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It says here they are a 21st century agency, which means that they're all online. They're online, they're fast, they're convenient, and they have really cool tools to help people. I refer a lot of people to the CFPB because not only do they help you with things like this, where the savings rule to live by, they also will help you if you're having problems with creditors. So if you're having a problem with a creditor constantly contacting you and hounding you, and let's say it's fraudulent, or let's say it's something that you know that you don't owe, you've gone to the credit bureaus, you've disputed them, they will actually help you to get a decision done. So I've referred a lot of people there, had a lot of success with it. But one of the cool things that they have is the savings rule to live by. The savings rule to live by is a SMART goal. So I saw this and it was right up my alley. I thought it was something really neat. If you go to the website for CFPB, cfpb.gov, it's right on their webpage. It says my savings rule to live by. Decide on a goal, set the amount, you're making it specific, and then plan where to save your money. Are you going to put it in a bank account, retirement account? It's completely up to you. And then create the rule to live by. How can you cut out your expenses? So I'm going to save X amount of dollars per week, month, however you want to do this, or even a percentage of your income. And then you're going to make it yours. You're taking action on your rule. You're using this and signing it and putting a signature to something really makes a big difference. So that is one of the cool features that the CFPB has. So, again, recapping the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. If you want any of these goals after this presentation, you're always welcome to give me a call. You can call us or actually go to our website. We, again, can be found on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We actually have an Instagram account as well. So you're welcome to go to any of those places. And, after this presentation or after the viewing of this, I know CAN TV also puts it on YouTube too, so you can actually take a look at this presentation afterwards. So if you want to give us a call, you're welcome to call us at 800-994-3328, or you can visit us on the web at familycredit.org. I'd really like to thank you guys for taking time to view, and thank you to the callers that called in. It's always appreciated to hear your feedback and comments. The reason that we do this is important. We want to help you to live debt-free. So thank you and have a wonderful day.